Stampede Chuckwagon races are brought to you by Crowfoot Ford, the friendliest team on Crowchild Trail. And by Chinook Center. We're the one. Take a look. Chinook.
Whoa, good crowd in here tonight. Your last chance to enjoy the 1993 Calgary Stampede, the greatest outdoor show on earth. It truly is that. Hi, everyone. Welcome again to our coverage live on 5 of the world-famous Stampede Rangeland Derby, the Chuckwagon races. This is night number 10. We wrap it up with that dash for cash, as they call it. The final heat of 9 tonight. 4 wagons in there shooting for the $50,000. Winner take all. Richard Cosgrave, he led them through 9 nights. Kelly Sutherland was second. Tom Glass third. Jerry Bremner was in 4th spot through 9 nights. And that's the 4 that will be in that final heat, number 9. But we've got 8 big ones to go before that. Let's set up race number 1 here. Dennis McGilvery on the 1 barrels for DCS Systems Limited. Dr. Doyle Mullaney from Okotoks for Prudential Steel on 2. Edgar Baptiste driving for Standens Limited on the 3 barrels. Ward Willard and the partners down on 4. Here's the voice of the Rangeland Derby, Joe Carberry.
Heat number 1, Edgar looking quick off number 3. Ward Willard from the extreme outside barrel, going with Edgar Baptiste and Standens. Doc Mullaney's on the rail. He's third. DCS Systems 4. Barrels are all standing. One outrider's got some catching up to do. And down the backstretch they go with a good, clean-looking start. Good race shaping up here. Partners, Ward Willard, they've got him fanned out there, 3 wide. Edgar Baptiste, that red canvas showing in the middle of the track, has a slight lead. There's the Irishman, Doc Mullaney, Prudential Steel. He's found an opening on the all-important rail. There's 3 across the track. DCS Systems in behind that wall of wagons. This will be a great stretch finish. Doc Mullaney with the rail of safe ground. He's got a slight lead over Edgar Baptiste Standens. Ward Willard is kept out 3 wide, loses ground off the turn. Down the lane they come. It looks like the luck of the Irish. Doyle Mullaney holding on. 3 wagons pounding in behind, right on his tail end. Prudential Steel, Doyle Mullaney. DCS Systems, the partners, and Standens. There's a good opening heat. Good wagon race.
Oh, the track's in great condition. We can look for more great times here tonight. We set a track record for the Stampede last night, 1:14:08. Glenn Ridsdale from Paddle Prairie. And look at in this first heat. Doyle Mullaney for Prudential, 1:15:11. He was clean. Edgar Baptiste, 1:15:95. The other 2 had some penalty seconds tacked on. Dennis McGilvery, 1 second for a late outrider. 1:16:69. Ward Willard and the partners, 5-second penalty for having the wagon out of lane, so that hurt Ward. Those 4 wagons in that first heat after the realignment last night are the 4 wagons that really were out of the average totally from earlier mishaps. No time in the average, and they were just running the past few days for day money. Heat number 2 here now, and this is how they line up on the barrels. Leonard Ross for the Clients on 1. Ray Crotto from Bonnyville, OK Tire on the 2 barrels. Chinny Bremner, Dorantosh, Saskatchewan for Johnny's Rocket Car Wash on 3. And Jason Glass for Shaw GMC Pontiac on 4. They're lined up and ready to go. Here's Joe.
There's the horn and the Client. Quick off number 1, Jason. Shaw GMC off number 4, and there we go. Into the first turn, the all-important first turn. Jason Glass shows the way. Barrels are all standing. Shaw GMC Pontiac Buick, and the checkerboard glass wagon is on the front end. 2 lengths in behind. Then you got a race going on there. That's the Clients and OK Tire. Leonard Ross and Ray Crotto. They're trying to drive up on young Jason Glass. They've got a long way to go. And then Johnny Rocket Car Wash with Chinny Bremner. Jason Glass, who had some tough luck penalty-wise earlier in the meet, having a fine closing night here. He's setting a very rapid pace, and I don't think they can catch him. His problem now, outriders. He'll be looking over for some white shirts, and he wants all four of them alongside. They're having trouble because he's setting such a blistering pace. It looks like a wire-to-wire trip for Gauld GMC Pontiac Buick. Young Jason Glass comes through again tonight in flying colors. The clients Leonard Ross, OK Tire Ray Crotto, and Johnny Rocket Carwa.
Jason Glass with a quick time out of heat number 2, 1:14:40. That'll give you an idea of the horsepower that Jason and his dad, Tom Glass, have, because you can bet if they have 4 best horses, Tommy's driving those in the final heat tonight. Still, Jason's got a great time here out of heat 2, 1:14:40, the best so far. Leonard Ross, 1:16:34, then Ray Crotto, 1:16:61, Jerry Bremner, 1:18:60. It was a good, clean race. We've got heat number 3 coming up after this. The Chucks are smoking here tonight, and our coverage continues live on 5 from our pavilion at Stampede Park. Welcome back, live from our broadcast house pavilion on the Midway. Coverage live of the Stampede Chucks. Eddie Allstott on the 1 barrels in heat 3 for Woodridge, then Stu Napper. Dusty's on 2. Kirk Sutherland, Morrison Petroleum's on the 3 barrels. Ivor Boland on the 4 barrels for the Calgary Real Estate Board. Up in the eye in the sky, here's the voice of the Chucks, Joe Carberry.
Good looking start. Off the top barrel they come. Kirk Sutherland driving out off number 3 has a quick start. Eddie Allstott moves to the rail. Woodridge Mercury Lincoln. Calgary Real Estate Board has to go 3 wide into the turn. Dusty Saloon is out of there 4th. And 3 wagons now move on the front end, and they've got them all out. That's the veteran Eddie Allstott on the rail. Woodridge Mercury Lincoln. Morrison Petroleum. Kirk Sutherland is matching him stride for stride on the front end. The clients, or rather Calgary Real Estate Board, I should say, Ivor Boland is out there racing in the middle of the track, parked out there 3 wide. He's got a lot of extra ground to cover. And Dusty Saloon, Stu Napper right in behind the pack. Off the turn they come. They haven't moved position. Woodridge Mercury by a quarter of a length. Morrison Petroleum, Kirk Sutherland in between. Calgary Real Estate Board, Ivor Boland on the outside, and Dusty Saloon now closing ground. Down the lane they come. Veteran Eddie Allstott showing the way 3/4 of a length over Kirk Sutherland, and he's opening him up clearly down the wire. Woodridge Mercury Lincoln, Eddie Allstott. Morrison Petroleum, Kirk Sutherland. Calgary Real Estate Board, and Dusty Saloon. Outriders are all there. Barrels are all standing.
Clean heat, number 3, Ed Allstott, 1:16:46. Kirk Sutherland, 1:17:46. Ivor Boland, 1:18:25. Stu Napper, 1:19:15. Right to heat 4 we go. And they line up this way. Norm Cuthbertson on 1 for N-Serve. Grant Priest on the 2 barrels. Procter & Gamble. Dave Lewis on the 3 barrels for Beatrice Foods. Stan Robertson, Clandonald, Alberta on 4 for Crowfoot Ford. Here's Joe.
The horn in the rope. Dave Lewis gets a quick jump off number 3. His leader's taking him out on top. There he goes. Dave Lewis, Beatrice Foods. Royale Procter Gamble and serve 3rd, but he's got the rail, and then Crowfoot Ford. Barrels are all standing. Outriders now make their move. Dave Lewis is on the engine, starting down the backstretch. Oh, he has company. Royale Procter Gamble, there goes N-Serve. Norm Cuthbertson has found an opening on the rail. Royale Procter Gamble, Dave Lewis falls back 3rd midway through the stretch. Crowfoot Ford is coming on. He may overtake the early leader now. Things have changed on the front end. N-Serve, Norm Cuthbertson on the rail. Right on his flank. Grant Priest, Royale Procter Gamble. Crowfoot Ford is swept in behind those 2. Beatrice Foods, the early leader, is now trailing up the head of the lane. Down the stretch they come. N-Serve, Norm Cuthbertson showing the way to the wire. Crowfoot Ford, Stan Robertson closing up. 2nd by a half. Royale Procter Gamble, 3rd to the outside. Dave Lewis, Beatrice Dairy Foods ended up 4th. After that great start, he must have had problems down the backstretch.
Heat number 4, Stan Robertson, 1:16:10. Grant Priest, 1:16:38. Norm Cuthbertson, 1:16.81. That includes 1 second for a late outrider. And Dave Lewis for Beatrice Foods took an additional 5 seconds for wagon interference. We're going to go now to Heat 5, and remember that the big dash for cash, 50,000 winner take all, is still to come in that 9th and final heat tonight. But in 5 right now, we find the man who set the track record here last night, Glenn Ridsdale, Paddle Prairie, Alberta. Not one of the biggest names in wagon racing down here, but he didn't care a bit. He wasn't scared by the big names down here this week. He ran well for Crowfoot Dodge. Wayne Dagg on 2 for Airstream Heating, Ray Mitzewing on 3 for Skoll, and Roy David, Calgary Co-op Heritage Park on the 4 barrels. They're lined up and ready to go, and here's Joe.
The horn and they're up. They got away this time. Crowfoot Dodge, look at it again. There he goes. Glenn Ridsdale out number 1 on the inside. Got the rail, and there he goes, flying on the front end again. Skoll's giving him chase. Ray Mitzewing tonight. Calgary Co-op, Roy David, Heritage Park. Down the back stretch they go, and you almost know for sure. This guy on the front end, he's been there almost every night, every race. Crowfoot Dodge Jeep. Glenn Ridsdale, the rocket on the lead, about 1.5. Ray Mitzewing of Skoll in second place. Now there goes Airstream Heating. Wayne Dagg cuts through the rail. And dropping back is Calgary Co-op, Roy David, Calgary Co-op and Heritage Park. Glenn Ridsdale on the front end. Crowfoot Dodge Jeep showing the way again tonight with that blistering pace. He's going to need some red-shirted outriders. That's what he's going to need. He's so far in front of them all, they may have trouble catching up. He's midway through the stretch. Crowfoot Dodge Jeep, and here he comes. Glenn Ridsdale showing the way again tonight. In pursuit, Ray Mitzewing, hard charging second, almost caught him. Airstream Heating and Heritage Park, Calgary Co-op.
Glenn Ridsdale, a track record last night, 1:14.08, and a good running time again tonight, 1:15.29, the best in that heat. Ray Mitzewing, 1:16.45. Wayne Dagg, 1:17.09, and Roy David, 1:17.98. Mitzewing, by the way, had a 1 second penalty for a false start. We're going to go right to heat number 6 here now and line them up on the barrels. Remember, the big one is still to come. Heat number 9, where we've got the top 4 wagons set to go. Heat number 6 then, Copenhagen. On the 1 barrels, Hugh Sinclair. All-weather windows, Grant Profit on 2. Page Direct, Herman Flatt on the 3 barrels. And the Peddlers, Ron David on 4. They're lined up and ready to go. Here's the voice of the Derby, Joe.
The horn sounds and they're up to a good-looking start. All-weather windows, Grant Profit. Page Direct, Herman Flatt. The Peddlers on the outside. Oh, all 4 wagons hit it at the same time. Barrel 1 is down. Copenhagen hit a barrel. 5 seconds. He's got the rail. Huey Sinclair's going to need it. All-weather windows right there alongside Grant Profit. Then the Peddlers, and then Page Direct as they start down the backstretch. Copenhagen, Huey Sinclair can open them up another notch. Look at that as he starts to show daylight now. The all-weather windows, Grant Profit. Get along the rail, coming on now. Herman Flatt, Page Direct, the Peddlers right there on the outside. Ronnie David staying close as he can to the pack. But Huey Sinclair's just got too much speed. Looks like he's got a 5-second penalty hanging over him, though. All-weather windows, Grant Profit might be able to take a run at him down the lane. Here they come. Copenhagen, the Black Canvas, smashing on the lead. Hugh Sinclair looks like he's going to make it a wire-to-wire trip. Here come the Peddlers now. A late charge from Ron David. And then they hit the wire. Copenhagen, all-weather windows. The Peddlers and Page Direct head-and-head for 3rd and 4th. Outriders are all there. 1 barrel is down.
Heat number 6, Grant Profit of Cochrane for all-weather windows, 1:16.36. Good time. Ron David right there, 1:16.88. Herman Flatt, 1:16.93. And Hugh Sinclair knocked down a barrel. That 1:20.62 includes 5 seconds for an overturned barrel. They've just completed the draw now for barrel positions in the all-important 9th heat. And making his draw right now is Richard Cosgrave. He had the first pick, and he drew number 2. He's happy with that. He wanted number 2, and that's what he got. Cosgrave will be on 2. Here's Kelly Sutherland, finished second in the 9-night aggregate, gets the second pick. He got 4, and he's not crazy about that. Richard gets 2, Kelly Sutherland 4, Tom Glass makes his pick and gets number 3. That leaves the 1 barrel for Jerry Bremner. That's how they'll line up in the big one for $50,000 in a few minutes here, the 9th heat. We're going to take a break, and we'll be back with more coverage live of the world-famous Rangeland Derby from Stampede Park. You're watching our live coverage of the world-famous Stampede Chuckwagon races, the Rangeland Derby from Stampede Park. We've got 3 heats to go, including the big number 9 heat involving the top 4 wagons after 9 nights of running, and they're shooting for $50,000. Winner take all. Let's go and line them up now at the barrels for Heat 7. Wayne Knight, Nick's Flooring on 1. Brian Laboucaine on 2. For Burns Meats, Jim Knight, Aunt Jemima on 3. Buddy Bensmiller has the 4 barrels for Chinook Center. The voice of the Rangeland Derby is Joe Carberry.
The horn and there. Good-looking start, except for Nick's Flooring service. The leaders are all tangled up, and he can't get out of there. Buddy Bensmiller, Aunt Jemima, and Burns Meats. Nick's Flooring service, tough break. Batteries not included, unfortunately. Down the backstretch they go now. It's a 3-wagon race. And that's got Burn Meats, Brian Laboucaine going with Jimmy Knight's Aunt Jemima, wheel to wheel down the backstretch. Buddy Bensmiller, former 2-time champion, now decides to come off the outside position, slips that red canvas in along the rail, and now he's third by a length and a half. Let's see what happens. Can Brian Laboucaine hold on? Aunt Jemima's Jimmy Knight is right laying there on his flat, and they're wheel to wheel. Look center, Buddy Bensmiller. He saves his generally for the home stretch, and that's where he's got himself positioned right now. He's got to find some daylight to come through, though. Down the lane they come. Burns Meats and Brian Laboucaine continues to show the way. Jim Knight's on the outside. Buddy Bensmiller, late charge. Too little, too late. Burns will win it. Buddy Chinook will be second, and Aunt Jemima's Jimmy Knight will be third.
Top time in 7, 1:15 and 52 for Brian Laboucaine. Buddy Bensmiller, 1:16.11. Jim Knight, 1:16.25. And Wayne Knight had all kinds of problems. The lead team didn't want to go. He has to take no time. The best time so far tonight, 1:14 and 40, recorded by Jason Glass for Shaw GMC. That was back in the 2nd heat. We're going right to number 8 now, 2 to go. And in this 8th heat, George Normand, knocked out of the top 4 on Friday night, is on the 1 barrels for Majestic RV World. He was in that Final 4 a year ago. Dallas Dorchester for the Hamptons on 2. Mike Vegan, number 3 barrels for the Landmen, and Bert Pronto on 4 for Archer Resources. These are the 4 wagons that just missed out on the top 4 finish.
There's the horn, and they're off, and the bodybuilder Miller looks quick off number 1. Archer Resources coming from the extreme outside. The Landmen and the Hamptons all in the hunt into the first turn. Archer Resources on the outside. Bert Pronto, but he's way out there 3 wide. Mike Vegan, the Landman is right alongside, and now draws up, takes the lead. Majestic RV World, George Norman still has a slice of that flag. He's right up there on the front end. And now Dallas Dorchester, he opens him wide open. He comes right up to join the leaders on the front end. All 4 are tightly bunched at the quarter pole. It's going to be a dramatic stretch finish, guaranteed. The Landman, Mike Biggin, is leading the charge. George Norman, Majestic RV, looking for a room. He's going to try to swing to the outside. Archer Resources third on the outside. And Hampton, Dallas, Dorchester along the rail. Deep in the stretch. Here they come. They're all in that last moment charge. The Landman holds on. Majestic RV World, the Hamptons, and Archer Resources
Great finish. They were bunched up at the line, 1:15 and 50 for Mike Vegan. These are the 4 wagons, 5 through 8, that were, so agonizingly close to a top 4 finish. Didn't quite make it. 1:15 and 50, good running time for Mike Vegan. George Normand, 1:15.79. Dallas Dorchester, 1:15.99. They were all right there, lumped together. Bert Crotto, 1:16 and 32. 1 to go, folks. This is the race, the Dash for Cash, number 9. And we're set to line them up. Remember, they drew 4 barrel positions on stage. You saw that earlier. Jerry Bremner got number 1 for Western Gas Marketing. He came in as the number 4 wagon through 9 nights. Richard Cosgrave led the aggregate for 7 of the 9 nights and was the aggregate winner here this year. For Yankee Doodles, he drew the 2 barrels. Tom Glass for Totem Building Supplies drew 3. Kelly Sutherland is on the 4 barrels for Canadian Frackmaster. This is the heat. They're lined up, ready to go. Here's Joe.
The horn and they're off in the championship heat of 1993. Tommy Glass hit a barrel down for 5 seconds. The defending champion is almost out of it. Jerry Bremner's got the rail. Western Gas on the lead. Tommy Glass in the middle of the track. 5 seconds hanging on him. Frackmaster Kelly Sutherland is on the extreme outside. 3-5. There's Yankee Doodle, Richard Cosgrave right in along the rail. But Jerry Bremner, Western Gas Marketing, midway through the backstretch, is in command. Tommy Glass is second, but almost out of contention with a 5-second penalty. Frackmaster Kelly Sutherland way on the outside, kept out there. Yankee Doodle may have a shot. Richard Cosgrave right in behind Jerry Bremner, Western Gas Marketing. That will be the race, and here they come down the lane. Jerry Bremner is showing the way. Yankee Doodle, Richard Cosgrave closing up. Half a light behind. At the wire, Western Gas, Jerry Bremner wins it all. Yankee Doodle second. Totem Building and Frackmaster. Championship driving from 4 of the great ones.
Great race, great finish, as it should be. Jerry Bremner wins it 1:15 and 13. The 1990 World Professional Chuckwagon Association champ has won the $50,000 at the 93 Stampede. He's standing by with Tammi Christopher.
Okay, we are here with the champion, Jerry Bremner. Congratulations, Jerry, and just give us your reaction to winning the big money and taking it all.
Oh, it's unbelievable. It's just the biggest thing that's ever happened to me. But once I turned the top and took a look, I knew I was in there and that they'd have to catch me, and that was a good feeling.
Take us through the race, would you please?
Well, I pulled in there and just waiting for the horn, and when it went, they really jumped, so that's the first sign of a good start. So it was just a matter of getting by my top barrel, and we went back to the track, good and hard, and I was down in there good and clean, so that's all I could expect.
Tell us about getting that number 1 barrel. Were you pleased with that?
Oh, no doubt. I knew number 1 was probably my only hope, and if I could turn it, that I'd have a real good shot, so it worked out really good.
A lot of people said this was a bit of an upset that you pulled off.
I suppose it would be. I mean, I haven't been to that many Stampedes, but, they've known I've been here every year that I've come, so, it's a matter of time. If we just kept working at it, we were going to get there.
Tell us about your horses.
I got a really good solid bunch of horses. I was able to go through the barn and, hook a bunch of different horses and keep some of the ones that I wanted for the stretch run a little bit fresh, which I was able to do, and it seemed to work out for me. So the horses, I'm really pleased with them. They worked well.
And your outriders.
Can't say enough about my crew. They never give me a penalty all week. I never even thought about them guys back there. I just went out and drove my race. I didn't have to worry about them not being there. They were really mounted well, and they all rode really well.
Much sleep last night?
Actually, I had one of my better sleeps last night. I don't know why, but I was really quite comfortable.
And how are you going to celebrate?
Well, we're going to go back to the barns and just whoop it up with our friends and enjoy this moment.
You're a living proof that good guys do wear black hats.
I guess maybe.
Thank you and congratulations.
Thank you so much.
Back to you, Russ.
All right, that's great. You got to be pleased for Jerry Bremner, 1990 world champ, and he didn't get into the top 4 here until Friday night. Made the most of it. He got that 1 barrel and was able to take the rail, and that was the story. Let's take a look at the top times then. Tonight, Jason Glass gets day money, 114.40. Doyle Mullaney 115.11. Bremner 115.13 out of the final heat. But more importantly, he wins the $50,000. Richard Cosgrave, who won the aggregate, he'll have to settle for the use of a new truck for 1 year, and he's made a bundle of money here too, so it certainly hasn't been all bad. Jerry Bremner, second overall, but again, the important thing is he won the $50,000. Came off the one barrels to take the big heat tonight. Richard gave him a run at the wire, as you noticed. Tom Glass, by the way, it was kind of lost in everything else, but he overturned the barrel, so really was out of it from the outset. Congratulations to Jerry Bremner and Western Gas Marketing. They won the 1993 Stampede Chuckwagon Championship. We're back with our Stampede Rodeo coverage live after this.
Stampede Rodeo is brought to you by Chinook Center. We're the one. Take a look. Chinook. And Crowfoot Ford, the friendliest team on Crowchild Trail.
Welcome back. Rowdy crowd in here tonight at our Channel 5 Pavilion. Hello again, everyone. I'm Russ Peake with Dave Poulsen, who was chosen for his title tonight, NFR bound. Well, maybe, and maybe not, too. Well, in case you think that the Chucks were the only thing happening down here, this, of course, was a Showdown Sunday in the Stampede Rodeo, the $250,000 one-day performance at the Stampede. Dave, I don't think it could get a lot better.
You know, they brought this format in 1982, and I'll tell you, if ever they needed proof of how great it was, today was the proof. It was a fantastic rodeo.
We looked at the lineup last night, the stock and the Cowboys, and we said the matchup was in the bull riding, where Rodney Lidgard had Redip, the bull of the year.
Yeah, this is the Harvey Northcutt bull, and I'll tell you something, if I'd have picked one guy that might be able to ride the bull, I'd have picked this guy, and I'd have been wrong. Because I'll tell you what, this is the bull of the year, and he really put Rodney Lidgard, the outstanding Australian cowboy, now makes his home in Texas, I think is probably going to be a world champion one day, but won't be a $50,000 winner at this Calgary Stampede, courtesy of Copenhagen Redip from the Northcutt organization. Look at this, just jerked him down. That tremendous power and downdraft, and that really got him in trouble, but we're really going to get a good look at it right here, because he gets whipped right down and then right over, kind of hangs up momentarily, and does the old flipperoo right there.
Lord.
Man.
Rearrange a man's makeup in one shot there.
I'll tell you what, we got a little quick in the calf roping. You remember back about day 1 or day 2, I said we might challenge the Canadian record, which was 6 9/10. Well, we challenged and we broke it. Marty Jones of Hobbs, New Mexico. Take a look at this. One swing down the rope. Calgary Stampede, Canadian and world record, 6 5/10.
We had set the arena record here earlier in the week, 7-1. That was Sean Franklin, and twice that was better today. We had 6-9 and the 6-5 that you just saw. Well, let's get to the major events where the winner was going to take home a $50,000 check. Bareback is our first stop, and man, it was exciting, as usual.
Now remember, they'd all got on one head already. These are the top 4 of the 10 who qualified today. Ty Murray, the $1 million cowboy, the all-around champion of the world. He's not even 23 years old yet. Has Guilty Cat from the Calgary Stampede, the great horse that's won it for so many guys. His total after this 84-point ride, 164.5, and looked good for Ty Murray, the all-around champion.
Well, he had Guilty Cat, the horse that has provided a couple of $50,000 wins.
Here's Roger Lacasse, and I'll tell you what, the Canadian fans were going crazy for the kid from Edmonton via Montreal. He had Copenhagen MS Wagner Spitfire. This is the horse they won the $50,000 on last year, and I'll tell you, Roger looked like he might do it here with an 85, gave him 165.5 on 2.
Don McLeod, Brandon, Manitoba.
Having his best year ever, and it was capped here today. Copenhagen Flashing Jewel. I'll tell you what, Donnie McLeod makes a good ride here. It's 82, it's not enough, 162.5, but I'll tell you what, he can hold his head high for his performance at the Calgary Stampede.
That leaves it up to a 2-time world champ, Marvin Garrett.
All right, here he is on Billy Bob Spade, and I'll tell you what, I don't think I have ever seen a better bareback ride than this one right here. In terms of the spur leg, we got to take another look at this. It's unbelievable. It is wild. It's maybe not pretty, but it's maybe the most aggressive ride I have ever seen. We'll see it again a little bit later.
He got tossed around a little bit, but he won the $50,000 check as bareback champion of the 93 Stampede. And let's not forget the stock. They got to take their bow.
You betcha. This is Lonesome Me Skoll from the Calgary Stampede. What a great horse. And Russ, talk to our champ.
It hadn't been great to you in the past. You more than made up for it. Did you put every effort into making this a big payday this year?
Yeah, you know, with the series rodeos and all that, you know, every time I nodded my head at one of those series rodeos, I was thinking of today. And I didn't quite know how I'd feel when I got here, but I wanted to be here. And I'll tell you what, it's a great feeling. I'm glad it was worth all. I mean, you know, I don't know, it's hard to explain all the effort that goes into riding good, and that's what it's all about. You can draw the good ones, but you got to be able to ride them too.
And you did draw a couple of pretty good ones today.
Yeah, just right. Reg Kessler's Buckskin Billy, I've had him before at the finals and at some other rodeos. He's really good, and he had a really good day. We had a lot of fun, and it just seemed like it got a little bit funner when we got to that last one.
I imagine you can find ways to spend $50,000, all right?
Oh yeah, oh yeah. That little lady over there, she'll help me.
Well, that was a reference to his wife, Lisa, who is cheering him on here today. He had Guilty Cat, and no, he did not have Guilty Cat. Sorry, I wanted to mention that Guilty Cat took Bob Logue to the $50,000 last year, and also Robin Burwash back in '89.
Yeah.
So Ty Murray had a pretty good draw.
This was quite a four. Spitfire, of course, won it 2 years ago for Billy Lay, but it was Billy Bob Spade for Marvin Garrett.
We take a break here, and we'll be back with more of Showdown Sunday from Stampede Rodeo. Great crowd, having a great time. Last chance to whoop it up at the 93 Stampede. Our Sunday Showdown continues from the rodeo performance, and our next stop is calf roping. We've already discussed about how quick it got. The times have been lightning fast for most of the week.
Yeah, except for this guy, Cliff Williamson. He has a mishap right here. Now, you see what happens. He pulls up, and Cliff went back to talk to the judges. I think he was claiming that the barrier rope had, in fact, fouled his rope, and if that was the case, he would have got a rerun. The judges, however, looked at it and said, no, that was not the case. He simply broke the barrier himself, and that, of course, was going to cost him anyway. Cliff knew that, and as a result, he pulled up, and there's a no time for Cliff Williamson for $50,000. That is a tough break.
Oh, that's so unfortunate. I mean, you can still lose the $50,000 if you take a good shot at it, but not get a good run at it. That hurts.
All right, here's Jimmy Gunch, the young man from Thorsby, Alberta. Now, he was 8-5 on his first one, wanted to be quick here, and I'll tell you what, the young man set the pace for a while with a 7-2, 15-7 on 2 runs. He was outstanding.
So with a couple to go, the standard is pretty well set for Marty Jones.
Well, here it is. Here's the run we talked about earlier. Look at it here. It is flawless. He's down the rope so quickly to the calf, wraps this calf up in 6-5, and that is the record anywhere you want to go. All right, one swing. Now, look how fast he gets down the rope. He's almost there before the calf is. Now, quickly on the ground. He's got the perfect calf. 2 loops, half hitch. Well, 1 loop and a half hitch. He even saved some time there, 6-5.
Only one man could beat him, Freddie Whitfield of Houston.
Well, in a world champion, he came in at 7-3, and he's going to be 6 9/10, a total of 14-2, and that, of course, is just unbelievable. And he guns him down afterwards. There's the champion right there, $50,000.
His hands were a blur, a little bit of showmanship too. Freddie Whitfield, he lost it to Kyle Kossoff by 0.6 of a second last year. It seems that this sudden death format is heaven or heartbreak. It was heartbreak for him last year, but he came back today.
Yeah, he truly did. Well, I'll tell you what, I've seen an awful lot of rodeos and probably close to 1,000 performances. I've never seen roping like we saw today. Let's meet the champion.
Freddie, congratulations. This Calgary Stampede is either heaven or heartbreak. It was heartbreak last year for you. This must really make it all worthwhile to come back.
You know, as long as you rodeo, there's going to be ups and downs. You know, I dealt with my down last year. You know, I left here after I lost the 50,000 by 0.6 of a second. I went on rodeoing, you know, and focused on the World Championship after that and fell a little bit short of that last year. You know, I managed to luck up and win the 50,000 this year. So, you know, I'm just going to continue doing the same things, go home, buy me a little place around home somewhere, and invest a little bit of it and keep rodeoing.
Good for you. You must have taken a look at that 6.5, that arena record that went ahead of you, and shook your head a little bit before you come out of there.
I tell you what, I was pumped, you know. When I rode in there, you know, I knew what I had to do. And I run at the barrier, kind of threw a little rope and spun that calf around and just went as fast as I could go. You know, I knew if I made a decent run, then I had a good chance to win it.
Freddie Whitfield riding his rope horse Moon, lost it by 0.6 of a second last year, wins it by 0.7 this year. Our next stop is Saddle Bronc, and they broke out the great stock for that Final Four again, didn't they?
Well, they certainly did, and of course we've seen some great buck-offs, but we won't see one here because Chris Anderson on Cloud Gray Skull from the Calgary Stampede organization, he's going to put together an outstanding 79 here with an earlier 80. Tell you what, Chris Anderson, the Canadian cowboy, the veteran, was really putting it together. 159 on a great bucking horse. He's a little sore at the end of that. Now we go to John Smith of Rimbey, Alberta. Here's another Canadian champion. Now he's going to be 81 points on Copenhagen Fire and Lace, and I thought John Smith made a great ride on a horse that has bucked off two outstanding cowboys already, including Canadian champion Guy Shapka, Bud Longbreak, the average winner at the NFR, and 159.5 on 2 for John Smith.
Here's Craig Latham from Texas.
Kingsway Skull, Laverne Franklin horse that's been a world champion, and I'll tell you, when this horse bucks like this, he is so hard to ride, and yet Craig Latham got by him, but just. And 164 is his total after that 84.5 score.
So he goes to the lead and leaves it up to Kent Cooper, Albion, Idaho.
Well, and probably the horse you'd want out of this pen is Papa Smurf from the Calgary Stampede. Two guys have won $50,000 on him before, Dan Etbauer and Rod Warren, so we might as well make it 3 because Kent Cooper is going to be 83.5 with his earlier 81, 164.5, and he's going to win it by 1/2 of a point.
Great veteran, been to the national finals the last 9 years. He's been a pro since 75. I couldn't be happier for him. He's come up here and won some money, but never like this year.
Well, there's Untouchable Skull, outstanding horse from the Northcott organization. Boy, he was tough all week.
You talk about the horse Papa Smurf, you just couldn't ask for a better draw. Dan Etbauer won the 50,000 on that bronc in '89, and Rod Warren won 50,000 last year on Papa Smurf.
And Kent Cooper got it done, and I'll tell you what, let's talk to him right now.
Kent, you've been hammering away at this game a long, long time. This payday got to be about as good as any, I would think.
Oh, I'm excited. You know, I've been coming here a lot of years, and I've done real well. I've won the average here, but I've never been able to finish it off and win the 50,000, and to finally get that, it's great.
Well, you had the horses to do it. That's what you have to have, especially in that showdown round.
Oh, for sure. You know, I think every bronc rider in there would have been happy to have Papa Smurf would have been the one everyone wanted in that final deal, and the horse before was a good horse. Worked out.
How do you approach this? Did you feel nervous at all today, or are you cool enough? You've been on enough of them, it doesn't faze you anymore?
Oh, I'm nervous. I was more nervous probably getting on these horses like I had today, which are horses that you should make a real good ride on and do well, and I would be if I had kind of a hard-to-ride horse, because everyone's expecting you to do well on these.
More concerned about yourself than the stock, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Well, now I guess it's on to Vegas. God, you made a lot of stops at the national finals. I'm sure there's another one in your future.
I'm sure hoping so. I've been kind of not rodeoing too hard so far this summer, but now last couple of weeks I've been rodeoing. I'm doing well, so I think I can make it back to finals.
Kent Cooper, who said he made no deals. He was either taking home 50,000 or zero. We're back in a moment.
This 2019 CFCN Television Championship Final Four is presented by Stampede Chuckwagons and Rodeo. 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10 11 12 13 14 15 16 17 18 19 20 21 22 23 24 25 26 27 28 29 30 31 32 33 34 35 36 37 38 39 40 41 42 43 44 45 46 47 48 49 50 51 52 53 54 55 56 57 58 59 60 61 62 63 64 65 66 67 68 69 70 71 72 73 74 75 76 77 78 79 80 81 82 83 84 85 86 87 88 89 90 91 92 93 94 95 96 97 98 99 100 101 102 103 104 105 106 107 108 109 110 111 112 113 114 115 116 117 118 119 120 121 122 123 124 125 126 127 128 129 130 131 132 133 134 135 136 137 138 139 140 141 142 143 144
We go to steer wrestling in the final 4, led by Lee Laskowski.
Tell you what, when you say led by, he has been the leader in everything he's done. Number 1 in the world, number 1 in Canada, 1 in the Bud Series. He won the aggregate yesterday. Right here, he posts a 14-7. However, he broke the barrier, and that takes him to 19-7 and out of it.
Lane Peterson, twice the champion here.
And twice the Canadian champion as well. He came in working on a 4-4, but here he's 15-2. He too broke the barrier to 19-6.
All right, we go to Darrell Lawson, Carsland, Alberta.
Well, you talk about a long shot. This isn't the guy anybody would have picked, that's for certain. He was 4-6, then a 14-2 here. As for the third out of 4, we broke the barrier. Now, he didn't know it at that point. He thought he had the thing won, and he would have had he not broken the barrier.
It was an all-Canadian final 4. Here's David Roy.
Oh, David Roy, look at this. I'll tell you what, the young family, everybody was happy for this guy. He's 4-8 with an earlier 4-7, 9-5 on 2. What a great championship for just one heck of a nice guy.
And there he is, getting his bronze and his $50,000 check. Got to be happy for him. He hasn't had a great season, although it has picked up for him the last few weeks.
He's been hot the last little while, and I'll tell you something else. Maybe the fact that he wasn't the favorite and wasn't picked by a whole lot of people might have been a benefit to David Roy, as Russ talked to him after the rodeo.
If you looked at the final 4, I suppose it would have been safe to say maybe you were the least likely. You didn't think that way, but a lot of people would have said, well, maybe David Roy is the least likely guy to win.
Well, that could be. I come back with the steer I wanted anyhow.
And exactly right. In this business, you never know when you're going to have the good day and the bad day, do you?
Yeah, that's true.
Is it safe to say you needed this payday?
I really did, yeah.
Nothing like winning Calgary, I guess, is there?
No, it's been one of my dreams, so glad to finally come true.
Congratulations to you.
Thank you.
A little bit of his $50,000 is going to have to go to Doug Wilkinson.
That's right. He was riding the great horse Trapper, and of course these guys will tell you the horse is worth at least 50% of your performance.
The bull riding is next. It doesn't get any more exciting. It was another great Sunday showdown in this event. Jay Sukup Eckville, one of the final 4.
Yeah, Northcott's Trick or Treat, and I'll tell you what, on his days, he's considered to be pretty close to unrideable, and this, unfortunately for Jay Sukup, was one of his days. No score after an earlier 82, and no 50,000 for Jay Sukup.
Wade LeBoy, Montana bull rider.
Big Timber Cowboy, he has Wayne Bolt's Sugar Ray, and I'll tell you something, this is a bull they're already touting for Bull of the Year in Canada. You can see why, because he too may be unrideable. In 28 trips, he hasn't been ridden.
3 times a world champion, Tuck Hedeman.
He has Wilf Gerlitz's Fatal Attraction, and there's 3 out of the 4, and I'll tell you something, pretty important ride right there, and he couldn't get by Fatal Attraction today.
Oh, he'd been 84 in his first 2. Jimmy Sharp, twice a world champion.
And a former $50,000 champion, and he has Calgary's Tea Party, the bullet they wanted here a year ago on. And I'll tell you, this is outstanding. And Jim Sharp is 82.5, an earlier 83.5, 166 on 2. Look at that. They're congratulating him, and well, they should, because he's the $50,000 champion at the Calgary Stampede.
Well, he knew what he had because Clint Bronger had been 93 on the same Tea Party here at Rodeo Royal. This year's champion bull.
Now, this is Sugar Ray, the old bull that we talked about, and I'll tell you, he's got to be a great candidate for Bull of the Year in Canada. He is absolutely outstanding.
But the big money man in the bull riding for the second time at the Stampede, Jim Sharp, the 93 Stampede bull riding champion.
Jimmy, I guess the last time we talked was at Cody Snyder's bull busting event. Calgary a little better to you this time around?
A little better. I didn't fare too good at the bull riding, but come back and had a real good rodeo here.
Yeah, this is the one that counts too, and the second time around, any sweeter this trip?
I think so. I think I need the money a little worse this time.
You can make use of it, can you?
Yeah, now, you know, I got a place I got to pay for, and last time I won it was in '87. I just cracked out. I was just a kid, and I just had 50,000, didn't have nothing to do with it, but this year I got something to do with it, and I'm glad to win it.
Quickly, something about the 2 bulls you had today.
I tell you what, both of them are real good bulls. First one turned back to the right and was real good, and this last one I had kind of got hung up in the shoe a little bit, but he went ahead and bucked real good, and I was happy with both of them.
Yeah, Clint Bronger was 93, I think it was, on Tea Party at the Rodeo Royal here, so I'm sure you were familiar with its reputation.
Oh, yes, sir. I seen him last year at the National Finals in Las Vegas, and he's probably one of the top bucking bulls there. You know, they only rode him 2 jumps, but, I mean, he might have bucked harder than any bull there.
Jim Sharp was in the Final 4 last year, finished a 3rd, was in the Final 4 in '91, and bucked down, but no one was going to beat him this year. Jimmy Sharp, the bull riding champ. Wild cow milking was won today by Lyle Edge and his mugger Wayne Leask from Cremona. They placed 8 of 10 days, and the wild horse race team that won it, Jesse Denz of Milk River and his partners Sean Baylog and Lyle Frymark. They had 7 firsts and a second, so there was really no doubt about that one. That was over pretty early. We're not done yet. We're going to be right back and finish it off with the novice saddle bronc event from the 93 Stampede Rodeo. They also declared a novice saddle bronc winner today. First to go in the event, Matthew Randall.
Black Diamond Cowboy, he has Extinct Maverick from the Calgary Stampede. Now, these kids had already been on 3 head throughout the week. This is their 4th horse, and he's going to post a 61 here, give him a 248 total, and for the moment, the lead for the young man from Black Diamond.
Didn't look bad at all, but it got still better.
Yeah, here's the Australian cowboy now making his home in Calgary. He had prime time from the Calgary Stampede. He's David Kelly doing a pretty good job right here, and he'll post a 68, give him a 272-point total, and at this point, he is the leader.
They had some re-rides. Christopher Buse got on a couple. The second one was Woody.
Yeah, this is outstanding. Watch Christopher, and I'll tell you what, he really has to let it all hang out because he's out of that saddle quite a long ways a couple of times. But the result is 71 points, 274, and he's our champion.
Little separation there in the old saddle between Wranglers and Saddle, but they got back in control.
He did, and I promised him if he won today that he would make it onto television. So why don't we just talk to him right about now?
Chris, what was the story on the stock today? All those re-rides in the event.
A lot of young horses out today. I don't know, a few more trips and they get a little better, get a little used to the crowd and the people around them. They'll buck a little stronger.
Yeah, they're a little bit unpredictable. What was your strategy coming in? You were trailing Darren Clark, and he was riding pretty well all week.
Yeah, I just came in and ride like I was in the practice pen and keep my nerves down. Just go out and have fun.
Well, it must have been tough enough to come out on one, but then to have to come back again. I guess you earn it that way.
Yeah, it's tough, but you know, you're warmed up after the first one, and you got almost toned down. Your adrenaline's going so hard.
Yeah. What now? Do you turn pro in the event? What are your future plans?
If my riding keeps going good, which it is, and I get support, I hope to be pro in a couple of years. Maybe back here for 50,000.
Congratulations to Chris Buse, going to college next year at Lakeland. A couple other winners to mention. All-around champ of the 93 Stampede Rodeo, Ty Murray, the world all-around king 4 times. He was also the all-around champ here in 91. The High Point Award went to B.J. Ziffley of Consort. The calf roper and steer wrestler gets the use of a trailer for the next year, so he's a pretty pleased young man, too.
I'll tell you something. We couldn't do this without the animals of rodeo, and right now we're going to salute the 4-legged superstars of the Calgary Stampede. Take a look at this, because they were fantastic throughout the 10 days. In every event, sometimes it was pretty, sometimes, well, maybe it wasn't so pretty, like right about here. We reshaped a lot of hats over the course of the 10 days. We chased some clowns. We had a lot of fun. But I'll tell you what, the animals were great. And who'll forget the wild ride of Jim Lowry smoking the cigar, doing it all. Oh, and here's one of those hat reshaping moments. Ooh. Yeah, young Gordy McKee, but he bounced back. He was okay after that one. And this horse right here says, well, I'm going to lay down right here. Check out the helicopter motion. Oh, look out, hung up a little bit, but we'll get him out of there.
Great show, Dave. I think we should do it all over again next year.
I hope to. I'll be back. I hope so.
We had a wonderful time. Thanks to our live audience here, and thanks very much to you at home. See you next year for the greatest outdoor show on earth, the 94 Calgary Stampede.
Stampede Rodeo and Chuckwagon races are brought to you by Chinook Center. We're the one. Take a look. Chinook. And by Crowfoot Ford, the friendliest team on Crowchild Trail.